At the edge of the universe, 400 men and women are probing the immeasurable blackness of space. Their leaders are an Earthman with no fear and a stranger with no heart. Travel beyond our time and solar system, into new galaxies, into worlds beyond your dreams. Star Trek, every week, in color.
Man, oh man, it's Tuesday. It's 3 p.m. Pacific Earth time. It's that time for serious Star Trek. There's not really any Star Trek to talk about per se, but that has never stopped us before. You should have checked out last week. That was a humdinger. The sparks were flying here. I'm still getting emails. Is everything okay between you and Captain Fun? Are you sure everything's going to be okay? Is there going to be another episode? Well, we'll find out, folks. I don't even know. That guy's got a hair trigger. Let's bring him in right now. Hair trigger himself. Captain, or should I say Admiral Fun? Admiral.
Oh, I don't know. Battlefield promotion. You're kidding me. You're not getting email.
Not even one. Not even one. Not even one. Except maybe from this guy. That we've got this weird, obsessed super fan who seems to show up every week, and his name is Dr. Johnny Price, PhD.
I was gonna say, man, like you definitely got my emails, right? I mean, I want to know what's gonna happen. Like, am I getting fired? Like, I know, like, what's going on here?
It was like the look in your eyes. I hate it when Daddy and Dantron
That's
fight.
right. That's right.
But it was like about your mortgage or your
it was not an interesting
annual
fight.
tax thing. You were having a giant fight about something you just didn't understand.
True. Even better sometimes. I think it was the passionate nerd energy flying that I enjoyed.
There's a lot of passion.
Yeah, but we're going to cool it down this week because I don't know what we got to talk about, guys. What's up in the world of Star Trek besides... I mean, the elephant in the room is Captain Fun's new threads. They are pretty slamming.
I got all excited. I got the Volante maroon vest. They put it on sale. I talked to them at San Diego. I was like, give me a little discount. You don't have to carry this home. They said, how about this? I don't care because this whole thing is going home with or without me. So, but I will tell you that we're having a big sale in the end of August. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks.
Oh.
And so I got this and I'm very excited. It's all licensed. There's a giant tag, a label that's 3 inches square, which is pretty big for a label on a piece of clothing, but 2/3 of that is the embroidered logo of Star Trek. So I'm like, that's actually a feature and not a bug for me that this giant thing says Star Trek on the inside. Like it's, the Japanese map of Japan for downed flyers that they sew inside of their own clothing. Like I would wake up like in a coma somewhere and turn over and go, Star Trek, and I'd be like, okay, I don't remember my own name, but that is very reassuring to me.
Well, John, I looked at it and I thought one thing automatically. What do you think when you see this uniform? Because it just told me it said Scotty. That was the first thing that I thought of.
Okay. Well, especially with the beard situation going on.
Yes, I think that's what it is.
I could see that. I mean, it's hard, man, because that's like the classiest part of the classiest uniform ever made. So, it's like, man, dude, you can just wear that, like, just in public, just as a nice vest,
In the green room, Dan was like making fun of me and said something like, yeah, and imagine if you went out in public like that. And that was my literal thought. I was like, dude, I live in San Francisco. This would be nothing.
Well, that's what
good.
It's disconcerting because, like I said, if I was in line next to you at like a bank, because it almost looks.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
It almost looks like normal clothes, almost. And then Larry asks me a question or bumps me on and I would look at him and I would do everything I could to not engage him.
Well,
if I saw him,
if I'm going like, hey, what's up, fellow Vulcanian. Which star date are you from? Is the 4-digit or the 5-digit one? Yeah, okay, I get that. But come on the other hand, you might look really fast and go, oh, that's one of those Oddfellows Shriner things getting changed for the lemonade stand, which is fine, right? I'm just some old schmuck standing in line. Okay, and hey, my shirt's a little too white. Pardon me for caring how I look, sir. You know, I shined up my badge. This is the Order Axonar, motherfucker. You should be thanking me for my service.
Is it the new Usher's uniform at the Bill Graham Auditorium? That's like somebody's.
I'd take that, right? Have some respect for the guy holding the door.
Well, we love it that you try, and John, we love it. I love it that you try. I try with my background and everything else. So, like, we're the try-hardest Star Trek stream.
I need to get. There. I mean, if anything, Captain Fun is inspiring all of us. You know, it's like, dude. I was pretty happy that I got this, you know, and then Gussie my original, and then I got a replacement. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm just rocking the lower decks, you know, trying to get in theme for September 7th. But, you know, here comes Captain Fun being like, oh, I just ruined the game. I just changed the game. You know, no big deal. No big deal. I'm just up here. You guys are down here. I'm up here, you know.
But if it's any consolation, production values do not translate into show ratings or popularity in any way. So props, visual effects, foreground animation doesn't matter so much. But we've got loyal audience members out there. You guys, we've got seven people watching right now. Feel free to chirp in about your latest and greatest sci-fi thoughts. But you know, beyond that, I don't know what we have to talk about, except I have one. Captain Fun challenged me to get a new book because I'm always talking about Starship Troopers. So now I promise to split my talk between Starship Troopers and Gladiator in my quest to read the texts of science fiction. Because this thing there is no Superman if this book was not written, or it would have been different for sure, a lot different. Amazing, really good, very well written, and definitely and almost mocking of what Superman ended up being. So anyway, when I finish it, I'll give more details on it. It's great stuff.
Can we do some little, Star Trek stuff before he goes?
Star Trek book club, you know?
Yeah.
I would also like to just interject real quick. I am trying a new computer because allegedly it is not the internet connection that's the problem. It's my computer that's the problem because, as we all know, it's always my fault.
It could be computer.
So, you know, if we're still having internet issues, you know, that's a point for me. But if we're not, that's a point for everybody else. So here we go.
You know what? So far, I'll say it's good.
Yeah,
picture's good.
So
no dropouts.
Yeah, so far so good. Usually I would see the circle right in the middle of the screen, you know, like 10 times by now. So
wild.
So
yeah.
We have Friday's Star Trek Day is coming up, but if I'm not mistaken, isn't the Thursday before September 7th the return of season 4 of Lower Decks?
It sure is. It sure is, Captain Larry.
I'm very excited about that.
Lower Decks coming back, season 4.
I got so excited about that. I started over at episode 1, season 1.
It's a good watch.
And it's better than I remember.
Yeah.
And I loved it in my memory.
Is Lower Decks, I'm sure they had this in the can before the strike came down and stuff, but I know there's a lot of differences between animation unions and the Writers Guild, the regular Writers Guild. There's Animation Writers Guild and stuff. So I wonder if we'll see cartoons like that when we won't see live action shows.
I'm pretty sure the answer is yes, because Mike McMahon has been all over Twitter about it. And I 99% remember him saying something like, we're a different union, something like that. Yeah.
It was shocking to me, the differences. Like if you write a show for TV and it's a hit, you get all these royalties. But if it's a cartoon, it's a way different deal. It's like a whole other animal.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah. And then Paramount put all of season 3 of Lower Decks on YouTube. So if any of you out there don't want to pay the Paramount Beast, but you still want to watch some amazing Star Trek, just head on over to your local YouTube and pop in Lower Decks season 3.
That is fantastic.
I will.
Yeah.
How did you hear about that?
It came up in my recommended viewing.
Oh, that's still cool though. Because as you know, guys interested in marketing, I'm like, that's crazy word of mouth, but that's exactly what it is now, right?
You bring up an excellent point though. They should be advertising the fuck out of it, and they most certainly are not.
Yeah. And that shows you the power of YouTube too. Like the audience on YouTube, the potential audience, it dwarfs everything. Like if you go even non-video things like Facebook and everything, the number one enemy for attention is YouTube. Like that's where it's at. And I think it's because they cut the creators in for the biggest share of the pie of almost anybody.
Huh.
So like I'll get most of the money that is made on these videos. So I stand to get 15, 20 cents maybe out of this thing this video in the long time. And they might make 10 cents off of it. So it's more equitable.
In the long term, they got me. I was with you, right? It's like 10, 50 cents.
Well, I make maybe 20. I make maybe $20 a month on this channel total or so. It used to be 40. Now it's down to 20 because I lost some of my big subscribers. Hint, hint, audience. But like I really do think that's why the content makers flock to YouTube, and that's why we're getting a lot of cool stuff that comes there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's the 800-pound gorilla for attention for sure. So they're like, yeah, we dumped some episodes on there, and it could lead people to come back to come for season 1. More people will see it on YouTube for sure.
They tried this with Discovery, and they tried this with Strange New Worlds as well, where they would put the first episode of the year or the season on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they would also the numbers were always funny, man. The numbers were always funny. It would be like 8 million views in like an hour, right? But then like there'd be like 4 comments. The numbers were always funny with that stuff. But I think putting all of season 3 on YouTube is a great idea, because unlike a lot of the new Trek shows, Lower Decks actually works as a pretty good serialized story. Not every episode is directly linked. Like you're not ending one episode with the next episode all the time, but as a overall story arc, like the plot of the season is so well done in all 3 seasons that you almost have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Like there have been episodes I don't particularly like that much, but in retrospect, I'm like, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt, and you're going to love the next episode. And I'm right. And everything ties together. Next thing you know, you're 10 episodes in. You're like, wow, that was a fantastic Star Trek I just watched.
Just like Picard season 1 and 2, right? Same phenomenon.
The difference is what John's talking about. We call actions have consequences, right? Like all of those episodes are good stories on their own, beginning, middle, and end, right?
Yes.
The friends we made along the way. Isn't that great, right? Except something that happens on the B story might be the A story in the next one, right? And because something that the action in this one has consequences in the next one. And they wove that so deftly. I just loved it. And that's what they do that in the cartoon. How come we can't do that in live action? Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's very reminiscent to me of like a show like Rebels, where Rebels is just so much better than it has any right to be. And it's like Lower Decks, like even the promo, we talk to John Suntress about this all the time. Like the promos for season 1 gave the completely wrong idea of what Lower Decks was going to be. It was all very like Rick and Morty sort of like animation and like over the top characterizations and all of this and bad jokes. It's like, dude, just watch season 1. And it's like I'm not going to call it, it's still a comedy cartoon, right? But I'm not going to call it like mature or anything, but it's a pretty well structured like season of Star Trek. It's like, this is a good Star Trek season, So yeah, anyway. I'm excited. I'm
Agreed.
super excited. I'm gonna make the chief science officer watch it with me, and who knows? You know, she might like it too.
I think Strange New Worlds took a lot of notes from Orville and because Strange New Worlds basically is a comedy show. It's in tone. It's as every episode has a lot of comedic content in it. I don't think there's even one that doesn't have any.
Even the darker episodes.
Even the darker, heavier episodes.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, absolutely. I also think that might be a bit of an overcorrection by Akiva Goldsman, who like, because in TOS there are comedic moments. In TOS, you know, Spock is always making ironic quips, and McCoy is always making, you know, funny jokes, and like, I think that's one of the things. I think Akiva Goldsman doesn't understand Star Trek at all, and I think this is one of the things he doesn't understand, where it's like those are character-based comedy, whereas in Strange New Worlds a lot of times it's situational-based comedy. And I don't know if that's an actual difference or not, but to me that feels like a real thing. So I'm going to say that.
You think about it, Bones is really like an Archie Bunker racist.
Oh, he's hilarious. He's an old Mississippi doctor.
That's exactly what John's saying, that the comedy arises from the character. It's like McCoy is like, the joy of his character is like, whatever you think, he's on your side, right? Because is he doing that with a, you know, smirk? Is he doing that with a sly grin? Is he doing that seriously? It's the future. I don't know what's going on in the future. It's whatever the personal audience member thinks. So that's why everybody loves McCoy.
I also love the way they write McCoy, because Larry, I think you said this one time, Larry, where it's like everything I write, you know, you can read the fucks in between every word, you know, and it's like McCoy is just like that. You're talking about yourself, of course. And McCoy is just like that. You can hear the cursing in McCoy's language. It's just not on screen because it's 1967, you know. So
I totally remember that, because I wasn't just talking about myself, but I was using McCoy as the example that if you write it well enough, your audience can hear it, and you could always hear it in his performance. And so did that come from the script? I don't know. If you go back, I do this all the time. There's a site that has just the literal transcripts of every spoken word in every episode. So if you can remember some character's name or something, the Google will take it to you right away. And I don't know. It's
I think Bones is
my train of thought.
Well, I think Bones is underrated for that. As like the glue of the thing. Like without Bones, it probably wouldn't be as iconic. It wouldn't work quite as well.
Yeah.
And he added the first character. He's the first Star Trek character that I can really think of that's like not just happy to be there and do his job and say yes, sir, and you know what I mean.
He's the opposite.
Yeah, he's got something to say. He's got feedback to give. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, but that's what I was going to say. He was the first TOS crossover in the pilot for TNG, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So how long till we get a Strange New World? Is there going to be any kind of McCoy-ish?
There have been a lot of articles about this.
I'm guessing there will be. Since
there have been a lot of articles about, when is McCoy going to show up? All we're missing is McCoy, that sort of thing, which drives me nuts as an historian of the future, because he doesn't
we're
show
not there
up.
yet.
He doesn't show up until Kirk is already captain. Kirk, McCoy isn't there in the premiere, in the first pilot. It's a different doctor in the first pilot.
Oh, so I didn't remember
McCoy
that.
isn't even supposed to fucking show up. Anyway, let alone Dr. Boyce. Poor Dr. Boyce.
But I mean,
there's two doctors in between now and McCoy.
Yeah, but that puts him somewhere else that they can run into. Yeah, they can run into him like completely outside of the context of the Enterprise and whatever. Right. He's probably old buddies with M'Benga. I'm sure there's going to be some connection there for medical school or something like that.
I hate what they did to poor M'Benga.
Anyway, I like it.
Really seems sad, man.
I like the ass
adorable.
I like the ass kicking shell shock Doc. I think he's pretty cool.
I don't know. I don't need a MASH episode every time the turbo lift opens and the guy's standing there. I mean, all right.
What if Mbenga actually said? What if he actually had a line that said "suicide is painless"?
We lost Dan.
Like,
you got me with a MASH Mbenga. You know, because what's funny is that's the one episode I think I haven't seen the whole thing was the Mbenga trauma episode. I have to go back and rewatch that one because I fell asleep on it. So.
Oh no!
But I love MASH. I love MASH.
MASH is great. Chuck Gilbert popping.
I
in
know. Look what Chuck said, man.
With some hot speculation here that Ortegas may not make it to the end of next season, so they can bring on Sulu.
No,
that's tough, man. That's tough.
That would make
Sulu, if we remember,
sad.
Sulu does not start off as the helmsman. Sulu is a botanist. In the first couple episodes,
Whoa.
He does not start off as the helmsman.
Yeah, and
in
now
Charlie X, he's a botanist.
He could be anything before that for this time frame, right? That's dumb. I'm with Chris.
I'm gonna say the only reason they would replace Ortegas would be if like there's a contract dispute or something with her, because she seems like one of the cooler characters. Yeah, she seems that way to me.
Oh, Blue.
If they originally had plans to get rid of Ortegas, seeing the fan reaction to Ortegas probably changed those plans.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
There's no way they're gonna do that.
Yeah. They'll get rid of number one, Rebecca Romaine, before.
Sometimes I feel like Ortegas.
Sad I even know that.
Sometimes I feel like Ortegas is the only truly Captain Fun approved character on that show.
That's correct. Yeah.
I mean, I
Don't
like
equivocate.
Because
she's
Captain
having
Pike. He's fun.
Yeah, but you don't though.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like just the character, I don't have anything to say about.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the one that you're just on board. This is Star Trek. Like she's having fun on driving a spaceship.
I don't know about her hairstyle. I mean, that's the level I'm at. Really? Is it the future? Do we have to shave? I don't know. That's me with my bald bias. Okay, never mind. That's fine. Ortegas, it is. You pass.
With as many goofy episodes as we got this season, I do feel like it was one goofy maybe too many they could have saved, but I still want to see the fashion. I still want to see them do something with who is designing these uniforms. Like, how is there so much variation between like what Larry's wearing and what John is wearing right now? Like,
so here's the thing. I don't think you could hang a whole series on it. I don't think you would want to, because it would just be like a nighttime soap, and nobody wants that out of Star Trek. But I really think the real in-story answer is that there's a lot of creative people in the Federation, and that you just have a range.
Yes.
That the range is based on whatever quadrant you're in, because that's basically the people you're going to be running into. So like, if you're in a place where there's half the aliens you're going to run into, like yellow is like bad for their eyesight, just don't fucking wear yellow, right? And there's going to be that level of stuff for that area. I just
know it's like every several years someone gets like anointed and gets to make all the decisions, and they're like, turtlenecks? No, not in my Starfleet, maybe. And then they go to like a V-neck style for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Just the local custom, This is what we're doing this year. There's got a naval cut. Isn't that cool? Oh shit, somebody left the message thing upside down and command is red now. Go figure. Gold is support services.
Can you imagine going into a Starfleet PX? Like just an entire department store worth of uniforms, like on one side,
Sick mini skirts, great mini skirt selection.
Unisex mini skirts, Yeah.
All right. You talked me into it, but only a 6 to 8 minute webisode thing.
This would be.
You could do that.
This would be.
Ooh.
There's so many people I would rather they kill.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
so many.
Man, Chuck, you're bumming me out. Stop both of those things.
And you know what, man? The thing that I keep coming back to, the moment that just makes me sick of Pike all out of like really. I like Pike too, but when he is being a pussy on the shuttlecraft, and Ortegas calls him out on it as a test pilot, that to me, I don't understand that at all. That aspect of his character, unless it's something they're going for, like for him to overcome.
I think, and Dan, you've talked about this a lot. I think they're obsessed with like the trauma of it all. And Pike has a lot of trauma in his story. Like, yes, he is a former test pilot who also knows he's going to die in a couple years, or not die, get into the beeping chair in a couple years. He also, he has a lot of traumatic backstory now. He's dealing with a lot of shit. He's got a hot girlfriend who maybe doesn't want to be serious, maybe wants to be serious. I don't know, who knows. So I think that was fun. That was like the pilot kind of wavers a little bit, and the co-pilot says, "Yo, man, sack the fuck up." What
was Uhura on that ship? I forget, because she's the one whose whole family was killed in a shuttlecraft accident. I could see her being a little nervous. But one, Pike is a test pilot. Two, he knows the future. He knows he is not going to die. On that, so there's no way he's even going to be hurt, really.
They need to double down on that. They need to double down on he's like, yes, I know the future, therefore I can take more risk. That's what they need to double down on, because as we all remember, fellas, risk is why we're aboard her.
It's our business. Risk is our business. I would love it if they just came back and the first episode of the season was sort of the first 10 minutes of whatever episode that was in Discovery, when they show him that young and he's like looking at himself because he's not that old. And then he's like, all right. And then he finds himself in that situation, but everybody's like slightly older, and he starts doing some stuff and he saves everybody, and somebody dies, but it was somebody who lived in the other thing, and he goes, fuck you. And then they just have Star Trek for another couple of years and not worry about it.
Guys, I have
you know what I mean?
Yes.
I have a Gorn conspiracy theory, perhaps here. Okay. Now imagine they're in a very.
I don't think Dan was with me on that one.
They're in a very politically sensitive thing, right? They're going to start a war, and it's like top secret. It's like Pike has orders not to betray, blah blah blah, right? He's torn between saving his love and betraying Starfleet's orders. So this thing all goes down, and then maybe there's a cover up, and that's why we have not. They say that our first contact with the Gorn is not until Cestus 3 or whatever it was in the original series. Does that make any kind of sense, or do you think the Gorn are going to just be like the recurring, ongoing?
No, I think that makes sense. That's something. Sort of conspiratorial cover up to it. I think so. They did that with Discovery too. They swore Pike and Spock to never talk about Discovery ever again. Which was my favorite part of the whole show.
Yeah, I have nothing to say about that nonsense.
Admiral Fun is just over.
We're in a world where the Guardian of Forever is a guy named Carl. It's just every once in a while you guys start talking about some aspect of it. I'm like, this is the stuff I'm trying to forget happens in this modern version of Star Trek. And it's not that it's not a completely valid thing to talk about or have a comment on or opinion or enjoy even, right? It's just me. I'm like,
I think you're right.
Why are they called Gorn?
Well,
call them Ridleys or something. Just
that would be hilarious.
Hang a nose on your lantern or whatever.
Well, I thought you were talking more about the Pike awareness stuff.
Oh, that too.
Where I go, I liked in this season. Maybe it's just because Pike wasn't in this season very much at all. They've sort of forgot. They just sort of pushed that aside, and I hope they do and just make it like you don't really have to think about. Pike doesn't really know the future. He's just this is it. We're making it up as we go along, kind of scenario. Yeah, one can only hope.
I wouldn't even mention it until the end of the show.
Yeah,
right. Just have that be the last episode, and then have the last episode be him working through the problem and coming out the other side and realizing, oh, hey, your clock's on the positive now. Oh, what do you do the rest of your life, Captain? Ha ha! And then the monkey walks by and music comes up, and then there you go. That's fine too, right? Just don't mention it again. Who cares?
Verified.
Green light. That's all I heard.
I would just like them to feature Rebecca Romaine more. That's all.
I don't really understand. Like, she doesn't really have any superpowers, right? She's not like super strong or anything. She just kind of has healing powers, sort of.
She's just supposed to be a person.
Robust immune system.
Right? I think the whole idea is that genetically modified for like maybe intelligence, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember. Someone can correct me. But I just wish she was in it more, because that's what the show should be about. It should be about Captain Fun and his officer running around the galaxy, and it's not.
Yeah, I think they probably wanted Pike in more of this season. I'll give an amen to that.
The thing I think is so weird about it is that you can't. It's once again, they have these modern Star Treks where it's like you can't tell anybody what is this show about.
So true.
And like, who's the main guy, and what's he want? I mean, you can do that with literally every television show ever made up until, I don't know, 2000, 2003 or so. It's like, and then it's like, hey, what's in the box? What's this mystery? How can we get this going?
Mystery box. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams.
And, oh my goodness. Anyway, yes, we all believe the modern state of literature. Anyway,
oh boy,
but I'm just schooled. I'm an audience member who's schooled with like, oh, Hawaii 5-0. Oh yeah, this guy Dano is gonna book them, and I get it. It's good guys versus bad guys in Hawaii. Right on. Okay, what's Star Trek: Strange New Worlds about? Okay, well, it takes place 10 years before the. Wait, just let me stop you right there. I don't get it already. You know what I mean? Like, the whole premise of the show is predicated that you know something about Star Trek already.
I mean, it can be, but if you just take it like it's Star Trek, it's just Star Trek. It's like remember old Star Trek?
Yeah,
here it is. It's like that again. That would be enough.
It's like the Star Wars.
That's what got me in.
It's like the Star Wars movies.
Right.
Like, oh, what's the new Star Wars movies about? It's just the new Star Wars. That's what it's about.
Guess.
Oh, hey, speaking of Star Wars, and you brought up Rebels, are you guys watching that Ahsoka thing? Is that worth watching?
Yes, son.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I haven't watched it at all.
I have to block it out of my mind when we talk about Star Trek, because it's up here. It's up here, and Star Trek is down here.
Okay.
I love you so much, Star Trek. Why can't you be like Ahsoka? Anyway, yeah,
because that Rebels and that character doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I don't really know. I know she's Clone Wars related. So somehow.
I mean, yeah, like Ahsoka. I mean, the whole backstory of Ahsoka is that she was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan during the Clone Wars.
Oh,
and that's the cartoon, the Clone Wars.
Okay, yeah.
But then she kind of like has this whole like thing happen, and she kind of like removes herself from the Jedi or gets kicked out of the Jedi, whatever. So she becomes kind of like a mercenary, like a have gun will travel kind of figure. And so she uses like white lightsabers because she's not light or dark, you know. And she's fucking awesome. And then the whole Rebels thing is she becomes like a spiritual mentor to a couple of the Rebels characters, which is what this show kind of starts off with, where it's like that sort of relationship. But you don't have to watch Rebels to enjoy Ahsoka. If you do watch Rebels, you will get a billion times more levels of enjoyment out of it.
But I mean, it's Mandalorian level, good Star Wars stuff. Yeah.
Wait. Can I say first, bravo, John. That was crazy. But of course, I have one more thing, but I'm just adding to your list of perfectness. It's like, here's one thing. Here's this gem that dropped on the floor of the cafeteria while you were doing your brilliance. It was just this is yours. You just forgot this one bit, that the brilliance of Ahsoka is that you put all of those things together that John listed, and you realize the audience is getting to watch the growth of the next Obi-Wan Kenobi, because that's basically where it's going.
Okay.
But we first saw this character as a punk, right? You're the Padawan of this idiot, right? And then through adventure and everything, you start to go, fuck, now you're like Rosario Dawson and you'll bring Captain Solo and the Wookiee to me. Like, fuck you, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, it's but the audience got to witness that. That wasn't a couple of bits of dialogue you had, right? Over the years. And that's what I'm really enjoying about it. It's crazy good. And even if you don't know, like Chris Sagasag said, his sister doesn't even know any of that and enjoys it. It comes out of her acting that these characters have a deep, deep history with each other, which is even more crazy, right? Because they're the cartoon guys and the live action people are like have studied their Macbeth character in Macbeth. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you did a really good version of that character, and I'm going to do this version of the character a little later, and it makes sense that the character is the same, and it's crazy. You're like, I don't know, how is so much brain power going to this, and it's so enjoyable and entertaining.
Well, the benefit, and especially with a like character, like he created this character. He was behind Clone Wars, he was behind Rebels, he's behind the show Ahsoka, right? So you're getting almost like an auteur sort of vision of a specific Star Wars character. And it works. And we all know Dave Filoni's a fucking genius and should be running Star Wars. But you know, Ahsoka is really your perfect like microcosm of why people think Dave Filoni is a genius and should be running Star Wars, because he has molded this character in front of our eyes through now 3 different shows. Well, not including her cameo in The Mandalorian, but, you know, 3 different shows now, watching 3 different stages of Ahsoka's life. It's pretty fucking awesome, and I love it, and I love Dave Filoni. So, even though he's got a weird thing for wolves, but that's okay.
I like what I like about Clone Wars is I saw so many kids that used to buy those Clone Wars comics and read and watch those cartoons. And I was almost, at one point, I was really like, I think the kids like the Clone Wars is Star Wars to many kids more than the prequels were. Like, they're like, those are okay, but I'm really, really into this Clone Wars stuff. And they knew about all those characters that I just weren't meant for me, weren't made for me. But it's cool. It adds that intergenerational layer that they're as deep into that kind of character as we were into like Boba Fett or whatever. The Clone Wars, the show is better. Like, if you watch that with the prequels, like that gives you a complete picture of a Star Wars story, right? One of the problems with the prequels is that they are not a complete picture. It's 3 kind of disparate sort of stories tenuously linked together by George Lucas's fucking rattled brain. Clone Wars shove that right in the middle of it, and now all of a sudden you have a complete story with all these fun characters, fun animation, right? I don't like the animation style, but that's neither here nor there. Rick Austin, absolutely correct. 20-somethings love the prequels. That's
and
wild.
I think Dantron's completely correct, because they also watch Clone Wars.
Yeah.
They didn't just watch episode 1.
Right, it all makes sense.
So it makes total sense to them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, to us it makes no sense because we didn't fucking watch the Clone. Why am I going to watch a cartoon about a shitty movie I just didn't like? You know, it doesn't make sense to us. But if you grew up, if you were fucking 4 years old watching the Clone Wars, be like, oh my god, this is blowing my mind.
Well, part of it to me too was the genius of getting Genndy Tartakovsky or whatever his freaking name is, the Dexter's Lab, a Samurai Jack guy, to do those cartoons, because he is one of those few TV animators that I really respect for what he did, how he changed the game, the kind of cartoons he brought to TV were pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
They didn't think the prequels shit all over their childhoods because they weren't alive. Yeah, that's true. However, the prequels did shit all over our childhoods. So.
You know,
there's a problem.
It was timing for prequels. Some of the effects were not.
They're terrible.
They were. Some were good. Some were bad. Yeah, the movies are not. I don't want to go back and watch. I can't think of memorable, iconic scenes like you can from every single of the original trilogy.
The only positive thing to me about the prequels is that George Lucas was trying to technically push movie making forward with green screens and all that stuff, which is now just so commonplace. You have fucking CW shows doing like better graphics than the fucking prequels, right? But in that respect,
right now,
right, Dantron is doing better than graphics than the fucking prequels, which were billions and millions of dollars. But so in that respect, I will always respect George Lucas for pushing technical boundaries. But those movies are shit. It's not a matter of just the execution. It's not a matter of the casting. It's not a matter of the dialogue. It's all shit. The whole story is shit. Everything about it is just pure shit. Like, it's like as if George Lucas had never watched the movie Star Wars. And he just had in his brain all this stupid stuff that got left on that Marcia cut out, you know, and was like, no, that's fucking stupid. We're not putting this out in movie theaters, George. And he was like, oh, whatever, I'm keeping it in my head, you know? And then he did a prequel based on all that shit, and no one gives a fuck. No one cares about the fucking Senate. Get the fuck out of here, George Lucas.
Here's my theory that you're absolutely right, and he fucked himself when Empire Strikes Back comes out, and it's episode 5 or whatever, right? If he had just said Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, okay, then do another 3, pal. That's awesome. Yeah. And then if you gotta have 9, do another 3. But Star Wars starts when Darth Vader steps over the bodies of his guys, going, "Hey, what the fuck? I'm the bad guy." So, because everything else is implicit after that. You need a good guy. He's probably got a chick. He's got a sassy friend with a gay robot friend, right? You know, it writes itself after that. But nobody gives a fuck how you get there. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter.
Larry, you're the anti-backstory. You're an anti-show the backstory guy.
He's an anti-backstory. And also the thing with exactly what you're saying, right? If George Lucas has this idea in his head that he wants 9 movies, which he didn't, he completely made that up after the fact. Right. But if he has this idea that he wants 9 movies, and he starts with the middle of the story, which I don't know if you guys know anything about narrative structure, is the most interesting part of the story.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden, who the fuck wants to go back to Act 1?
Right. That's all.
Who wants to go back to Act 1 where we just see the
matters
characters fucking each other? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Fuck George Lucas.
Agreed. I'm not going all the way to that. I got a lot of joy out of stuff out of his brain and the people he hired to make models and special effects.
Technically, George Lucas is a huge influence on everything. Like, you can't say otherwise.
I liked what he was trying to do with the political subtext in those movies, what he was trying to show, the rise of fascism. And I like that he was trying to inject all that stuff into Star Wars and bring it. I do feel the execution, the acting, and it has to fall to the directing. So I go, it is George, you know, this has got to fall on George that it wasn't what it was. And the technology, I don't know. It was like they pushed it so digitally that it crossed over into Uncanny Valley a lot of times. And so that makes it not hold up in the same way. Original, like you can watch original sequel with none of the special edition stuff and it'll be charming and still cool, like neat looking, cool special effects. But you go back and watch Phantom Menace and it's like, it's dodgy. It looks not great.
All right. Speaking of,
we have our second big rumor of the night.
Look at this. Larry loves Phantom Menace. That's up.
That makes sense to me.
I must answer Rick Austin. Goddamn right.
That makes sense to me.
Here's the thing. It's not so much that I love it. It's I understand it. My thing was I don't have a problem with Phantom Menace. That's how I would characterize my opinion. Because given that exists, my problem was with the next 2 movies, right? You can have dopey beginning one because the argument is, you know, the first Star Wars is dopey beginning.
Yeah, true. Totally true.
Right? So that's fine. You get a dopey first one, but the second one has to be dark as shit and stuff's on the line. And so it's called Attack of the Clones. all right, give me that fucking Clone War fucking thing, World War II movie that every kid who's heard,
Clone
you
Wars.
fought for my father in the Clone Wars,
Yes.
thought it was like bang, 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 fuck you, guys with the white, I guess they're Nazis in space, right? Like every kid thought about it like that. Where's that fucking movie, George Lucas? And then
Clone
the third
Wars.
one is like putting everything in motion. So when you leave the lights on, it eventually turns into Star Wars, I guess. But if you had done it like that, like Jar Jar would be everyone's favorite character.
Okay, wait a minute.
You know what I mean?
Jar Jar. I really feel like, have you guys have seen the stuff about the rumors about Jar Jar? That he is,
which ones?
Well, that he was in reality, he was gonna be like revealed to be like a dark, a Sith Lord, like a Sith.
Oh, I'm all for it. I'm all for Sith Lord Jar Jar. I'm all for it.
It makes so much sense, even if you go back to the idea of how like Yoda is that type of character, like a character you think is a fool at first, but turns out to be super powerful. Like Jar Jar, to me, I think was meant to be that kind of character.
Yeah,
I don't know who is that. I don't know.
Watch Ahsoka, you'll find out.
Okay. Because do you remember the moment when they first meet him and he executes a jump into the water that's like ultra graceful?
Oh, yeah.
So there's these videos that break down a bunch of scenes.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm all for it.
And show him as he's in disguise as the fool, which is like a classic trope in the old mythologies. Yes. And he would be revealed to be the evil, but the reaction was so bad to him in the first movie, they just pivoted away. They're like, less Jar Jar, please. We'll keep him in there. He was still important, but
maybe just don't have the racist accent, and it wouldn't be that bad.
I really because he could be a scary character if you think about his design and the way he looks. Like, give him a lightsaber and like make it dark and make him competent. He could be a cool, scary.
I'm all for it, man, dude. I've seen those videos. I'm all for dark.
Okay, you've seen it. You've seen it.
Sith Lord Jar Jar. Oh, let's do it. Rewrite the whole thing. Refilm the whole thing. Just do over. Let's mulligan that fucker.
I think if there's anything I could ask, if I had George Lucas and he didn't have a gun to kill himself because he's heard all these questions a million times.
Oh my God.
That's like, if I could have
you.
If I could, yeah, exactly. If I could have him like tied up.
Last time, pal.
That's one of the big questions I would ask about the prequel, because I actually love all the political stuff and the ideas that they were trying to do there with the Senate, and that the Phantom Menace itself was Palpatine and his rise to power. Like I don't know. I like that.
I get what they were doing. That's the whole, it's nod to Flash Gordon, right? The reason everything was happening was palace intrigue, right? So, that's cool on other planets, and that's some shit we stole from Dune too. I totally get what he was going for.
Yeah.
He just did it in the shittiest ass way possible.
Yeah. He read Foundation and Dune. He read all those books.
I get it. It's all good. But the stuff you're nodding to was better, right? Like, say you grow up and you love I Dream of Jeannie and the first bit of Planet of the Apes and like all this cool stuff, and you realize that the common theme is astronauts in trouble. And when you grow up, you do a comic book called Astronauts in Trouble, but it's your own thing. But it's like what you loved about all that other shit. And people can go, really? That's in there? Or, yeah, I see it. And everybody has a like, yay, that's cool. I like trouble. Well, hey, this is trouble in space. And like, well, I like astronauts. And here's where they're having some minor difficulties. It's brilliant, right? You don't just go, this is Flash Gordon, and I do that with that now, and it has Natalie Portman in it, which is the level of soul that the early.
Well, that's just it, right? That's just it. The prequels, they're not fun, right? They're not fun movies, right? The Clone Wars makes that story fun.
Yeah.
Like the TV show makes that story fun for little kids.
Yeah, because the pacing, smaller episodes too, but good pacing.
Right.
On TV, you're getting a nice steady drip of it with cool characters
that
are changing.
Filoni started Filoni took over the Clone Wars, I don't know, about halfway through, I guess, and he started adding in a whole bunch of more like Star Wars mythology type stuff. Like a lot of the characters you see in Rebels are kind of evolutions of things that go on in the Clone Wars, that sort of stuff.
Is that where that dark saber stuff comes from too?
Yeah,
you can
dark saber
tell
comes from that. Yeah,
you can tell though Filoni had a lot of discussions with George about what the Force is, because his idea is so rock solid.
Yes,
like you could start a religion and he would be your pope and it would all make sense and people would believe in it, right? Because it's that well thought through, which isn't like other religions, which is all this big aggregate of tradition and nonsense. But this makes fucking sense, right? And I just think it's all ruined by the video games, because those people do not get the Force.
No. There's a really great. I'm sorry. There's a really great interview with Freddie Prinze Jr. about this. I think it's a Collider video back when Collider wasn't shit, and really great interview about how he, like, Dave Filoni explained the Force to him, and it was all very like samurai and like all this stuff, right? And Freddie Prinze Jr. called it, what do you call it? He called it like the gamification of the Force or something. And like the Force isn't a bunch of hit points and, you know, which weapon am I going to use? The Force is about a living energy source that like is around you. Like being a Jedi just means you know how to tap into it. It doesn't mean it gives you special powers, right? The Force isn't going to make you be able to jump 30-story buildings and fly as fast as a bird, right? It's just going to allow you to tap into the living energy, right? Really great interview with Freddie Prinze about that. Anyway, sorry, Dan.
Hollywood big shot Rick Austin commented online recently too that like maybe, you know, you don't want the Force to be that, you know, in your face all the time. It should be like more reserved. But who did not love? I honestly, it chills down my spine as the moment I always wanted to see is when you get to see what a Jedi truly means to space combat. You know, because you go like, who are these guys? He's got a monk, he's got a lightsaber, whatever. But the way they set up that robot battle in Mandalorian, where these things are just like, one of them was impossible to stop, but then Luke Skywalker could just like walk through them like nothing. That to me, I love the real like laying it on the line of what a military Jedi means. I don't know. I love that. I think it can be done well.
And then how does Luke Skywalker's story end? He becomes one with the Force in one of the most beautiful cinematographic shots in the history of cinema. You get Luke Skywalker sitting there like a goddamn fucking Zen monk.
Yeah, man.
Fading into the background of this fucking craggy old mountain. Like, it's fucking beautiful, dude. The Last Jedi makes me cry. I fucking love that movie. It's a fucking beautiful movie. Fuck everybody.
Agreed. 100%. He goes out in the most Jedi way possible too, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just great. And for
I'm really looking forward to.
Wait! Just give me one more second. Just right at the end, he's facing the sunset, but just for a second, he sees two. I think that's really cool. He sees the sunset of Tatooine, even though that's clearly a vision.
You know you're gonna die here, kid.
And you know how I know that's true? And that's the fucking text, and it's not subtext or fucking somebody's fucking, because. Guess what is the music swell, motherfuckers? It's the Force theme. What you see when you see the fucking twin sons of Tatooine. All right, so there you go. Clip note interference.
To me, cinematic Star Wars completely lost me. I don't even remember how many movies ago. I don't remember how many movies I just didn't care enough to even look into. Now several of the new trilogy for sure, but didn't watch Han Solo and Rogue One, even though I heard it was pretty good. It's stuff that never impacted on me. It never made I was very busy at the time. I guess that stuff came out, but it's not stuff I thought to return to.
May I say, I agree with you, kind of as a fellow old man. But Rogue One's awesome.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
You really, that's not going to be a waste of your time. And Solo, it's fine, but like that's way down on the list. But if you wanted to know what happens every time somebody mentions something in the first 20 minutes of Star Wars, this is it unfolding before your eyes, and it's good. And then at the end, everything makes sense. It's awesome. I love it. Oh, look at Rick. Yes. Watch. Yes. Literally everyone here is going to say, please.
Okay, cool. I'll make it a point to watch that.
That's the first place I caught up with Ben Templesmith. Not Ben Templesmith. Ben Mendelsohn. Yeah. That was the first time I saw him in anything. And I started following his career after that because it was so good. I loved it.
John, by the way, your audio dropped out a couple times, so I don't know if we can rule out your connection.
Right. Well, the video hasn't dropped out, has it?
No, video's been fine. Video's been great. Camera, I think, is better on. Camera, I think, is better on whatever you're using too.
Okay.
Computer. What do you think, Internet? Look at that.
There's
Look at that gorgeous guy.
There's me and Shatner back there, just loving it.
Beautiful or what?
Shatner. Look at that
beauty chat.
All right.
Anyway, that was up at No, that wasn't at Ticonderoga. That was in Richmond.
That was at
right?
GalaxyCon.
GalaxyCon.
Yeah. Where I also got to power around with Mark A. Altman and Darren Dockerman and Ashley Miller, the Inglorious Trexperts.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's just I saw Rick Austin went up to Ticonderoga, and Shatter is going to be up there in a couple of weeks, and I kind of half looked into it. I was like, oh my god, when Rick Austin goes, you have to do this before you die. Like, yeah okay. The conversation with Mimi is very easy. Well, Rick said, and she's like, all right. Well, Rick said. That's a whole different level.
Well, Rick said I gotta go, but no, being able to see Shatner like actually on the bridge of the Enterprise would be fucking amazing. Yeah. So anyway, you guys, I'm really excited for Lower Decks on Thursday, and that's about it. That's all I'm really excited about. Everything else can fuck off.
What am I excited about? I don't know. I think I'm off of streamers except for YouTube. So I'm really glad you told me about Lower Decks. I'll go check it out.
Yeah, check it out. All of season 3 is up there. It should be up there. It was there as of yesterday. So,
Oh, yeah. No, with September 8th being Star Trek Day, they're not taking it down now.
Yeah.
So you're good.
Yeah. And check out the numbers when you go to watch. See what kind of fake view count they're holding up there versus comments and likes. Because it's always like 4 billion views, but 3 comments and a couple of likes.
There's a lot of people playing a lot of games with those.
A lot of games, Paramount.
Speaking of games, check this one, guys. New Jeffries tube design.
Ooh.
I've been working on this one. This is cribbed from a still shot from Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, like it.
Not bad. We're getting there.
I like it.
I think that's what I need to do is I need to make a series of Jeffries tube runs and begin the show with new, like different Jeffries tube runs.
Oh, I like that. I like that idea a lot.
Dantron, the one that you did a couple of weeks ago, getting to be now, where you had your face melt into a Mission Impossible mask, like a rubber mask that like blubbered on the.
I think I got that.
Oh, dude, that was great. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I got my wife to give me. I've been decided to make Blender like 10-second, shorts. Like I always made little tiny animations because I can never make long stories, and then I suddenly discovered myself in this world where everybody wants 30-second videos, and 10-second videos and stuff like YouTube Shorts and TikToks and all that stuff. So I'm diving in. If you check out on this channel, guys, you can check out my shorts I got a bunch of 3D animated stuff and other stuff that I'm going to be trying out pretty soon.
This Hollywood Squares thing is too frightening, man.
Whoop, it's pulled me up here.
Yeah, don't.
Hey, it's Uncle Vinny, my Uncle Vinny.
That even that low, I got a pretty decent monitor, but with you being Dantron from, I guess it's Andor, right? That blue cast to your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is fine, right? There's Dantron. We love him. But that little, man, hard, you look like the aliens from They Live. I just had to come out and say
I like it.
That's among good. That's
just should say obey.
That's in good company for sure. Anyway, I got to get us out of here, guys. Wait a minute, but I know we're coming.
That one, yeah, that's cool.
I think that was a really good discussion. I thought we had a lot of good cogent points, and our commenters really brought their A game, and I'm proud of all of us. I want us all to sleep well tonight.
I feel like we could have talked about artificial intelligence a little bit more and why the Flash stunk so much. But next time, there's next time.
There's always next time. There's always next time.
You guys did go into some kind of 90s battle you wanted to relitigate there for a minute. I forget what it was, but I was like, oh my God.
I have one more announcement to make, though, that I made to Captain Fun in private, and I want to say live is that I'm not going to be using Midjourney AI anymore. I canceled my subscription. No more AI thumbnails for a mixture of reasons. Ethical being like the lowest. The higher reason is that Captain Fun made so much fun of me on a regular basis. And then the biggest reason is it didn't really improve any click-through rate on any of the thumbnails that I used either. So I'll go back to the old-fashioned way and make my own pictures, I guess, for now.
Thank you. Right? It's a win for people having creativity and looking at the toils of man instead of the clicks of morons.
Okay. Well, I want everyone to know I'm not against the technology of AI. I'm against the unethical implementation of said technology.
Right.
And I'll
against the technology.
And we'll be back to talk about more fascinating topics like this, folks. This is where science fiction and reality, meet on this show.
Have seen Lower Decks though next week.
Yeah, I'll watch some for sure. I know I'll like it because I've always liked good sci-fi comedy.
Yeah.
You got one of these days, guys. Red Dwarf. Honestly, it might not work. I don't know. It's so old, it might not work, but I think you will like it because the sci-fi plots are so good. They do great time travel stuff. They do great multiverse stuff. They did all that stuff way back when. Anyway,
70s hipster nonsense.
So we'll be back to talk about all that stuff and more next week. 1 week from today, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Earth time. But hey, Captain Fun, where should we do that thing? What do you think? Where should we do that?
On the internet.
Hello, I'm William Shatner. I'm Jewish. You're probably not. That's too bad. Or good for you, depending on your point of view. You see, in America, we can all practice our faiths however we choose. People have been coming here for a long time for that. In fact, since the year 1620. Mazel tov, pilgrims. Mazel tov.
Desperate Crossing, the untold story of the Mayflower, Sunday night at 8 on the History Channel.